How are you?
Alhamdulillah, good. How's everything with you?
It's lacking. Health is good. What can I say? Health is good.
Ramadan's coming up?
I've heard. It's a special time. Huh?
It is, man. It's a very spiritual time, man. It's time to step up. So, there are different times that have different rankings, right? And like the Hajj time, Ramadan, these are times when Allah has opened the doors of mercy. So this is the time, I mean, all of us are struggling. But this is the time we can kind of get to that and kind of refocus in life. What's life about, right? Like, alhamdulillah, you're healthy, that's great, but think about it, right?
That's a big question. What's life about?
Exactly, right? And this is the thing.
Being pulled in every direction.
Yeah, but think about it. Like okay, I grew up here in SoCal. I grew up in San Diego, right? When I was a teenager, what was life about? It was about girls, guns, cars, respect, gangs. You know, that's what we were about growing up, right? One of my friends, when I was 18, he was 20, he got shot, right? Last gang retaliation, right? I went to his funeral. He was Catholic, Mexican, you know, and we buried him, but all that me and him had worked for since we were very young, selling drugs, doing whatever, all that we had worked for, none of it went in the grave. We had put our money together, and he had a 64 Impala, real nice, lowrider, gangster car, right? Somebody else was driving. He had like 13 girls that were, you know, his, right? They were all crying on somebody else's shoulder. He had kids from some of them. Other people were picking up his kids. We had expensive clothes, you know, like expensive in our, like in the West Coast, we don't like get expensive, you know, like those Ben Davis jackets and things. His brothers were fighting over them the same day. All the money that we had stashed was all gone the same day. People took it, right? So what's life about? What's the purpose? Think about, we're standing here in Balboa Park. Right? So that's exactly, so here at Balboa Park, how many people stood exactly where we're standing and they're dead today? Last week. I'm not talking about like 100 years ago. Like, you never know in my time or in your time. You could be crossing the street, get hit by a truck. Coronavirus is a wake-up call, right? So when you realize that, then you think, okay, what is life really about? We go back to the Quran. Right? This is the words of Allah, our Creator. He will know better. Who knows best why something is made? Right? Does that make sense? Right? So
it's the only real answer.
It's the only real answer, right? So Allah tells the Quran, الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. Allah is the one who created death and life, to test and see which one of us will put forth the best deed. Right? So now think about that. We know the purpose now from the words of the one who created us. Right? So if somebody else pulls you somebody tells you the purpose of life is just to be like that dude dancing naked. See that guy back there, right? Right? That's what he's doing with his life, right? But do you think that's why Allah created us? Do you think that's why you have such an amazing body, a brain, and eyes, kidneys, all these functions, so you could dance around naked in a park? Right? But what about a greater purpose of getting to a hereafter, getting to a life that's never ending, getting to please the one who created you, following that guidance, worshiping the one that made us, right? That is the purpose of life without a doubt. Anything else, like you said, they're distractions. Right? Somebody tells you, just believe in Jesus, you're going to heaven. Right? But they say that, but they don't believe it. Right? Because in the Bible, they'll say that faith without deeds is useless. Right? It's of no use. You'll find it in the Bible itself.
And then if you try to tell them, they'll argue against it.
Tell them, okay. Tell them if that's their only criteria. I asked a Christian this question. I asked a Christian, is your only criteria to believe in salvation just that? He said yes. It's a free, no action, no work. I told him, okay, let's say there's an atheist girl. There's a young girl, she's atheist, right? And a Christian goes and rapes and murders and massacres her. The guy who believes in Jesus, he sins, he kills her, murders her, but he believes in Jesus, she doesn't. Who goes to heaven? He told me that murderer, rapist goes to heaven. And that poor innocent girl, because she didn't believe in Jesus, she's gonna hell.
That sounds like a confusion.
That's horrid. Who could believe that? Hey, like I asked
you
a
have
Christian
to be
the other
in
day.
kind of like a delusion.
It's delusional.
Or a state of...
You think Jesus is God? Yes, he is God. You think God was born from the private of a woman? Are you serious? The creator of this whole universe? Come on. Like, come on, that doesn't make any sense, right? Like if Jesus was,
That's like an extension of the delusion.
then you look at some people. Their religion is about a chosen people. You have to be from the chosen people. You think God is racist? If you're not born from the chosen people, you're Gentile and you're useless, and the religion was only for those people. That's race. That's as racist as you can get. That's worse than a cop pulling me over for my skin color. I can't even get into heaven because of my race. Right? That's racist, right? Then you look at some people, they worship monkeys. You worship a cow. Bro, if your God was in America, we'd make burgers out of it. You think that's God? You think a cow is worthy of being worshipped? Right? Like all this nonsense, right? Look, Islam has a very, you know in your heart, this belief is the right belief. Right? Look, one creator, no kids, no roommates, no stepmoms, none of that, no having half brothers that didn't believe in you and all that stuff. That one creator made us all with a purpose. What is the purpose? To recognize him, to worship him, to get to that eternal life. Right? You don't have to sacrifice your kids, you don't have to, no, you just believe and do good deeds. Belief is not enough. People have decided, no, عملوا الصالحات, right? You do good deeds, tawaful بالحق, you call towards the truth. All of that is a part of what you have to do. What do you think about that?
What do I think about that? I'm not the smartest guy in the world. You presented a lot of ideas to me, and like I have like small responses to like each of the ideas. Together they compose the big idea, and I like where it's going. But like I can't keep track of like all of the small responses. I lost track of.
Let's go one at a time. One creator.
Okay. Everything in me agrees.
We got that.
Okay.
This is the first part of the Shahada. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. I bear witness there's only one worthy of worship. We're good there.
Yes.
That creator created us and didn't leave us without guidance.
I like everything in me wants to agree.
Good.
But I'm
other
not
than
like
shaitan.
100% committed to say.
So let's talk it through that point, right? Let's say you decide that you're going to manufacture a new product the world has never seen. Okay? You're going to come up with something that's not a cell phone, but it's better than a cell phone. Okay? Something that puts you in a virtual reality that you can speak to people in a way that's never been done. You're going to manufacture it, right? And then you're going to put it out on the market, right? But this new device, never been used, has very particular instructions. Would you just throw it out and be like, hey, here you go, do what you want with it? Or would you be like, no, here's the instructions of use, here's how you use it, here's what to do, here's what not to do? Which one?
I would put instructions.
You would, right?
I would.
And you are an intelligent human being, so you realize that if you create something so complicated and new and just put it out without any guidance, people will misuse it. So you would, out of your precaution, put some instructions on how to use it correctly. Like every cell phone maker, every laptop maker, every TV maker sends the user manual, right? So do you think the one who created this whole universe would be less intelligent than that or more?
I would think he would be more.
Okay. So that creator then, don't you think he would send instructions for use for us?
I would think that he would have a way of communicating.
Excellent. So there we are. Now,
From the start.
We Muslims agree. Look, when you're Christian, who is that named after? Christ.
Named after
Jesus Christ. Before Christ, there was no such thing as a Christian, right? By definition.
Well,
Go ahead.
it's all comes down to definitions. I think the response comes down to definitions, and I think
But the word Christian-
I agree with what you're conveying.
Okay. Judaism, if you're Jewish, if you follow Judaism, it started with Judah. Right? I mean, the name. Just take the name.
Yes,
The name.
absolutely. Yes.
If you are a follower of Confucius, could you follow Confucius before he was born? Right? If you're a Buddhist, if you follow the teachings of Buddha, could you be Buddhist before Buddha was born? You're a smart guy. See, don't underrate yourself. Now, Are we Muhammadans or are we Muslims?
I'm not one. Okay, are you
I'm a Muslim. I'm a Muslim, not a Muhammadan. I'm a Muslim. I'm on the same religion that Jesus was upon. I'm on the same religion Moses was upon. I'm on the same religion Abraham was upon. I'm on the same religion Noah was upon. I'm on the same religion that Adam was upon. So like you said, from day one, that same creator communicated the same message to all the prophets. Make sense?
I think that's awesome.
Everything in this world has a beginning and end, right? In this world.
Yeah, the material world.
Material world, okay. So there is the first of prophets, Adam, right? First messenger being Noah, but first of prophets, Adam. And there's going to be the last of prophets, right? And according to the Quran, according to God's own instructions for use, the last of them was the Prophet Muhammad. So first Adam, last Muhammad.
I don't know.
Why not?
I could, because
good. I want you to critically discuss.
No, I don't. It's not my critique of you, but my critique of me. From what I understand, the conversation I've had is the idea of prophet in Islam. The view is pertaining to Muhammad, but like from me, when I attempt to understand what a prophet is, like I have to view those who would be called prophets of God, and also those who would be called like false prophets.
Sure, I agree.
In a sense, like for the religion of Apollo and
with
Zeus.
You. I am 100% with you. Okay. I like what you're going. Right? Let's keep going.
From my understanding,
let's do it. So we don't believe just the Prophet Muhammad is a prophet. We believe in all the prophets. But let's discuss the Prophet Muhammad. Was he a prophet or not? Right. So let's discuss it. It's okay. You don't have to give an answer. Let's discuss it. Right. So a man, according to all the historians across the board, by consensus, he couldn't read or write. Right? I've never read a historian from the original who actually looked at resources like Ibn Ishaq, Ibn Hisham, Al-Tabari, any of those historians that said he was literate. So he couldn't get a Bible and read it up. He couldn't get a Torah. He couldn't get books of science. He couldn't do anything.
I've never heard that idea challenged before.
Okay, so now we can come to a conclusion that he couldn't read or write. Right? He was in the desert. Right? He was loved by his people, well respected. Right? He was before Islam, before the revelation of Quran to him. He was well accepted by his people. Right? He was financially, he was an orphan, but he was okay at that time because he had business with Khadija, all of them, right? Now, that man, if he's going to be a false prophet, if he's alive, right? Let's take that, right? Is he going to try to make his life better or worse?
I got no idea.
But think about it. Let's say you were going to lie about making up a religion. Why would you? Money, leadership.
Okay, this is actually a really good question.
Good.
For me.
Content.
And I hope and I pray that anyone who hears my words will have testimony. Because my time and my spiritual attempt to know my Creator, I spent a lot of time in Christianity and then other forms of Christianity that were very hurtful. And I was very damaged.
I understand.
And when I left finally for good, I left completely heartbroken. And there was an aspect of me that had spent so much time in it, and there was a spiritual aspect to me that still existed, but I had nowhere to be. And so,
come here. I got you. It's Corona. It's all right. Look, I know what you're going.
So like I passed that. I'm okay.
Or you've been.
But I was hurt at one point in time. I was hurt. I was broken. I couldn't trust, and I didn't know how to assimilate it all.
Right.
And so I had an idea to literally start my own sense of a religion.
Excellent.
And there's more to that, and that's gone. That's past. It's all gone now. So you asked me what would a person do if you're going to start your own religion? Why? And the reason why is because I was in a sense lost.
Exactly.
And I know that there's a spiritual aspect to our existence.
True.
And you take group A, B, C, and D. and they all say that they have the answer. They're all right. And there's like this outer layer where people attempt to get along with each other, and they'll make compromises on their positions. And even some people would say like all paths lead to, but then when you're in their inner circles, they're like, no, our path is the way. So
first thing, I totally know what you went to, because I went to different churches, I went to different Christian groups, I went to Bible studies. I was hurt, not physically or touched, didn't spend much time with Catholics, but I was spiritually hurt by the lies, by the deception, by being kicked out of Bible groups because I asked a question. So I know where you went. When you were thinking about making your own religion, as an honest person, you were trying to do good.
I was trying to do good for me.
So would you lie?
Quite honest.
No, you're right though. To answer your point.
If you're doing good,
ultimately the answer is yes, but it wasn't for the purpose of creating a lie, but rather for the purpose of expressing a sense of spirituality with unknowns. And I took the unknowns, and I kind of assimilated.
But would you tell people that you are getting revelation when you know yours? You would not. You would not. Right? The Prophet Muhammad did. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So let's talk through why would he do it. If he was lying to get leadership, historically, the Quraysh, the tribe, when he was calling people towards one God against idols, they told him, look, if you want wealth, we'll give you all the wealth. We'll collect the wealth of the Arab, we'll give it to you. If you want women, we'll marry you to the most beautiful, any woman, put your finger, you marry her. As many as you like.
They tried to silence him.
They tried to silence him. They told him, look, if you want leadership, we'll make you the leader of the Quraysh. Right? He said, in historic narrations, he said, if you were to put the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left hand, I still wouldn't leave my doubt. So what does that tell you? That he was not a liar. He was not trying to immense wealth or marry a lot of women or get leadership. Otherwise, he could have got it right there. He died, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, with nothing of provisions for him. He had a cloak and a bowl that was broken, and that was his world. He didn't leave any inheritance. So think through that. Like a man who's lying, why would he? Right? Now, let me ask you another question. Right? You were thinking about starting your own religion. Could you today, even the way we have today, could you say to the people, ask for a miracle? And they tell you split the moon. Could you split the moon?
That's right.
I can give you historic evidence, eyewitness accounts from Muslims, from non-Muslims, from Arabs, from non-Arabs, from different geographical locations that witnessed the splitting of the moon. Eyewitness, verified, more verified than George Washington's, battle of this or that. I can give you the names of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Anas ibn Malik, Abdullah ibn Abbas, those that were physically present, those that were like Anas ibn Malik in a different city, Medina, those tribes that were outside Mecca that saw it, those travelers that came back and said they saw it when they were outside the area, other supporting historic evidences from India and so on that show that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, split the moon. Right? So now, if you're a false prophet, how are you going to split the moon? There you go. See? Now, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said the zakat, the money we take to give to the poor, is forbidden on him and his family. If you're a false prophet, you're going to want to, like you see all these Christian preachers who talk about, I can't fight regular, that's a pit of demons, right? These Christian preachers with $5,000 shoes and Christian preachers talking about Jesus, but they're taking their private jets to go to their $3,000 a night hotel. They're trying to make money. All these guys that want to debate with me, I challenge them. All of them, stop taking any donations. Like, I don't take any donations. I don't get a penny. This is from our own money. I don't take a single, I work a job, I earn my money when I teach, when I give da'wah. We don't take a single penny. If anybody gives money, it's to buy books or equipment. None of us get paid because I believe in what I'm doing. All these Christians that want to debate, I tell them, okay, first, don't take any money. Don't let people pay for your flight. Don't let people pay for your hotel. Don't put a Patreon account. Let's see if you really believe. You know, some of these guys are afraid to show their face. They're afraid. I'm here in Balboa Park. I'm not afraid. We've been attacked here before. There's videos, and I'm not afraid. Right? Why? Because I believe in my Lord. He'll protect me. But these guys don't really believe. They're just talk. Right? So this is the thing. What I'm saying is the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, either we can say he was crazy. Right? But can a crazy man bring a book like this? Can he know about those nations before him that he couldn't even read and write about? Can he tell you about scientific facts that there is absolutely no way? This is a book. It's got scientific facts in the Quran that it's impossible for a man in his time to have known. Even the most literate scientist, let alone an illiterate desert dweller. Right? So he can't be crazy then. He can't be a liar because he's not benefiting anything from it. He split the moon, we got eyewitness accounts. He brought such a linguistic miracle, right? That the Arab poets couldn't respond to. So how does an illiterate man who's never written poetry in his life do that? Let's say somebody else wrote it for him, right?
Be extremely brilliant.
Right? Exactly. Sure. Can extremely
I'm not saying that's the answer, but
let's talk it through. Extremely brilliant. Let's say he's just a natural genius. Can he split the moon? No. Einstein couldn't split the moon, right? So
nobody has. That's not a human.
That's not. Man, you're a Muslim. Come on, bro. Don't play with me, man. Is this a setup? Did you guys pay him? Come on, man. Right? Everybody's gonna think this is a setup, man. You're on it, bro. You know that that's not under human ability. And if I show you actual eyewitness accounts, not one, not two, not three, not four, so many, we call it mutawatir.
Really?
I have a video on this. If you
I watched your video on it. I think it maybe came out maybe 2 weeks after I talked to you last time.
something like that.
But I think it'd be interesting to read some of the.
Come to my house. Come to the mosque. I have my own library. We'll sit down. I got tea at home. All the tea you can drink, I got you. Food, no problem.
I like tea.
You like tea? I love tea. I'm a tea addict, right? So, not in a bad way, in a good way.
Yeah, of course.
So, we'll drink tea. I'll show you the books. You can read them yourself, right? Read eyewitness accounts. Read the verification of those. When they check what's called jarh wa ta'dil, each narrator who's reported, does he have a good memory? Is he biased? Does he have, could he have physically seen it? Was it something that he reported physically seeing or not? Right? We look at all of that verification. And if I show you so many sources that you yourself will say it's impossible they made it up. People that didn't know each other.
When did this kind of verification develop?
During that time?
During the time of the Prophet.
So during the time of the Prophet, how did it get verified? Think this out. The Prophet is in Mecca, early time, right? The Quraysh, the disbelievers of Quraysh, the polytheists,
That's the city?
Quraysh, that's the tribe. It's the tribe of the Prophet Muhammad, and most of them, peace be upon him, at that time were against him. Later they become Muslim as well. They say, show us a miracle. He says, okay, ask, what do you want? He said, split the moon, right? This is impossible, right? He could be a genius somehow. He wrote this book, but he can't split the moon, right? He says, look up. He makes dua. He asks Allah. The moon split. Those polytheists are witnesses to it. Now check this out, right? Not just that, they say, well, maybe he did a magic trick. Maybe he put a spell on him, right? Maybe this David Copperfield, right? So they say, okay, wait. We're going to ask those caravans that were outside of Mecca, outside of that geographical location, that were out for trade. When they come back, we're going to ask them, did you see it? When they come back, they said, yes, we saw it. Now, those are enemies.
Yeah, that's the biggest.
Those are enemies.
That's a big criteria.
That's a big criteria. So those that were Muslims there testified. Those that were, now Anas ibn Malik, at this time he's in Medina. He's not even in the same city, and he's one of the people that testifies to it. Right? So now you have different cities, right? So in the Arabian Peninsula, outside the geographical location, friends and foes. Now this is the Quran, Surah Qamar in the first ayah. Allah tells about the splitting of the moon. From then on, the Prophet makes the hijrah, their battles of Badr and Uhud. This whole time, not a single polytheist said, hey, in the Quran it says split the moon. We didn't see it. Imagine if I was here, I told you I split the moon right now, and you were an enemy. Wouldn't you be like, what? I didn't see it. But it was such a known fact that they didn't even challenge it. Not a single report where they said, no, this didn't happen. Those policies are like, yeah, we did see that. Some of them became Muslim, some of them stayed stubborn. Right? Some people you can show them, I can tell you right now, there's a sun right there. They can be like, nah, that's not the sun. That's just a conspiracy. Somebody put a ball up, whatever. That's up to you. You can be a hard-headed if you like. But many of them, they become Muslim. They say, yeah, we saw it. Right? Many of them, they don't become Muslim, but they say, we did see it. Right? Now, scholars after that, in the first few generations, like Al-Tabari and in his Tariq and Ibn Ishaq and Ibn Hashim, they start to then record those. And then they check. So if they say, oh, who did you hear from? You say, I heard from him. Well, who's he? Like what you don't have in the Bible, just kind of checking going back to Jesus, right? You just have a Koine Greek manuscript, like, yeah, we're going to go with this one, right? So here we're checking all the way to the Prophet, and each person, they check, okay, maybe he's a good person, but he has a weak memory. Maybe he has an eyesight issue. Maybe he had dementia. They check all, it's called Dab. How accurate is he in reporting, right? Then they check their adal, their moral character. Maybe he's a liar, maybe he has money to gain. No, none of that. Adal. Then they check the chain, is it connected? Is there any missing links? No, all the way to the Prophet. Okay. Then they say, okay, is there a contradictory record?
I'm pretty impressed, to be quite honest, that people during that primitive time would be sophisticated enough to be concerned about that.
This is the amazing thing.
And it was a time of ignorance.
It was,
correct?
But Islam brought that knowledge and that verification and that light that even the companions would verify narration. And I have a master's degree studying their works.
Oh, really?
Looking at the amazing, the companions, and then those who followed them in the first three best generations, and then those who followed them. There is a man, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, for example. He is from the first three early generations, right? And he was a scholar that memorized 1 million narrations. And he went on travels to cities to meet one person just to check one link in one narration. Right? Then there is Al-Bukhari who came up after him, and then there is Abdul Razak al-Sanani that is at the same time and a little bit earlier. Then you have Imam Malik, the great scholar of Medina. You know, in the first 100, 200 years, this whole work is going on where they're verifying and checking and compiling. Right? Then you have generation after generation of scholars like Ibn Hajar and Dhabi later that go back and recheck all of that. Right? So when I tell you something is no doubt a narration, I'm telling you can check better than any history book in America. Like when I talk about George Washington, I challenge anybody in this whole park to tell me who can name the eyewitness to George Washington's battle. Anybody. Right? And even if you get a historian, show me the chain from the history book back to George Washington. I can. In Hadith, right? In the Prophet's narration about splitting the moon, I can show you the whole chain. I can tell you about the biography each person. I can tell you how many wives, kids, what he did for a living, how good was his memory, which area did. I can give you all that detail about each narrator. So when you have that kind of extraordinary evidence, and then you have supporting narrations from a king of India, not through one source, through oral traditions, through different written traditions. Now those traditions cannot be verified to our standard. Why? Because our standard, like you said, for that was amazing. But they are verified and accepted according to their historic standard, right? So now you have non-Muslim sources from a whole different geographical location that witness the same event at the same time, right? Now those narrations have their own issues because they're not verified to our standard. But they do show that it wasn't just an incident, right? So now, how does a false prophet do that?
Well, I don't know how a false prophet do that, but I know that the Torah talks about the message to the Jewish people, that somebody could come, a false prophet could come, and he could give signs and wonders, and he could do miracles, and that he's just a test.
Sure.
If he's telling you something that must fit into your father.
Excellent.
Pass down.
So if you take that message, let's take it from the Torah, the Old Testament, right? That you would have.
That's not supposed to be an accusation, though.
No,
I'm just
no
saying
problem.
it says
Look, we're all friends. Just keep it coming, bro. Don't worry about it. Don't be shy. There's no taboo questions, right? So you have in the Old Testament certain statements about false prophets, no doubt, right? What would a false prophet call to? How would you? In the Torah, you have true prophets after that time as well, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So how would you differentiate?
The message.
Excellent. Excellent. What is the first commandment? Hear, O Israel, your Lord is one Lord. First commandment. What is it? One Lord. Not three, not two, not 4, 6, 12, 1. Right? That's the first commandment. In the Old Testament, in the New Testament, if you look at the 10 commandments, the first commandment is one Lord. What does the Quran tell you? Only one Allah. One Lord.
Yeah.
In the Old Testament, what's the second commandment? Don't worship.
Do not have any gods.
Exactly. Don't worship graven idol. Don't have any other God. La ilaha illallah. Same message. Right? Now when you go to a Christian church and they tell you God isn't one, he's three, and then somehow that's one, somehow that's also three, and then somehow he is God, but he's also the Son of God, but he might be God himself, but he might be fully God and fully man, but he might not be God when he was earth, but he was God, and then he wasn't God, and then he
asked himself, why did you forsake me?
And their God is praying to a God, and their God has a God, but the other God, the Father God, doesn't have a God. So which one is God? Right? And the Old Testament tells us God is not the author of confusion. Right? So if you use that filter now, is Paul and those Christians who came and corrupted the Christian religion and changed the message that you found in the old Bible, would those be the false prophets? Or a man named Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam who came and brought the same message, the uncorrupted message, one law, one Lord, one God. Don't worship idol. Don't worship me. The Prophet said, "Don't worship me. Don't prostrate to me." Right? He said, "Worship only one God."
I'm with you on that message that you're saying.
Excellent. So now we both agree that there is the message of having one God is good. So you're good on the La ilaha illallah, right? We good?
No, I didn't.
Now we both agreed that a man named Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam could not have split the moon. That's the sign, right?
Yeah.
We agree. If he's a false prophet, then his message should be different from that of the earlier testament. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, a false prophet has to describe. He doesn't keep you on the right path, right? But when his message is tawheed, is a belief in one God, not worshipping idols, believe in the messenger, believe in that creator, monotheism, no threeism, no twoism, monotheism, right? Then you would say that he is in line with that message. Right? It's not confusion, it's very clear. Right? So when he can split the moon, when he can bring a book that no Arab poet could respond to, even though he couldn't read or write, when he knew about things that the Arabs didn't know about, the Jews tried to trick and question him about why was Moses in Egypt. The Arabs didn't know. Right? He was illiterate. He wasn't a Christian or Jew. He was from a tribe of idol worshippers. The Jews tried to question him. He said, I don't know. Allah revealed to him Surah Yusuf. Right? Allah revealed the answer. Right? When you see these miracles, and these are just few, water coming out of his hand, things that have been documented. Right? I gave a series of lessons. I collected almost 3,000 narrations of different miracles. Right? What I'm saying is, from the Quran, from the authentic narrations that have been verified through the process that I mentioned, right? Some of them are about the same event, different narrations, but these are all through his life. Right?
Those are the hadith.
These are from the Quran and hadith. But hadith, we check for authenticity. Some are weak, we depend on them. Some are the ones that meet the level of being authentic, we depend on them. We call sahih hadith. Okay? And with sahih hadith, then there is muhkam, ghair muhkam. I have a master's in this, we're not going to. But the point being with all of that put together, with a man who didn't leave any inheritance for his kids, a man who didn't care about wealth for himself, he didn't build mansions, he died with just a cloak and a bow, right? He said the Prophet leave more, he even forbid on himself the charity and on his family. He said, even my family, they can't take charity because that's for the poor, it's not for me, right? Why would you not believe him to be a prophet? What else could he be?
What do you do? Well, I'm 100% on board to say that he's a messenger.
Okay, that's it. But so if you say that you believe in one God,
but a messenger is not necessarily a prophet.
Okay, so when we talk about Anbiya, prophets, and Rusul, messengers, we can talk about the differences, and we can talk about who are the Anbiya and who are the Rusul with the Quran, with authentic hadith. I will explain all of that. But right now, you do believe there's only one God, right? You do believe that the Prophet Muhammad is a messenger, right?
Yeah, you just look at the result of what his message was. That result, the hearts of people turned away from their polytheism and their wickedness and human sacrifice, and they turned to the
You're giving me goosebumps.
It's all true.
Goosebumps, right? Seriously. I wouldn't pick up my sleeve. So this is it. Look at the fruits of his labor. He didn't become rich. His family didn't become rich. They didn't get anything, but the people left idol worship. The Arabs left burying their daughters. They stopped their internal fighting, clan wars. They stopped oppressing the poor and enslaving people. Instead, it freed. Where Bilal, who used to be a slave, became the Amir of Damascus, of Syria. Right? Where Arabs and non-Arabs started to sit together in the same place, where women were not allowed to be educated, women were not buried at birth, which happened before. The Prophet Muhammad stopped all that, right? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? So, he is a messenger, and you do believe in one Allah, you're Muslim. You can say you're not if you want to, but you are. That's what a Muslim is.
There was one disagreement I had with a person, with a Muslim, yes. And at the point of where I'm at in my life, I don't know what you would call it, but like this is just where I'm at. Is that according to everything that I've really taken in, my life has shown me, I don't believe in Jesus. Exactly. But what was told to me is that it was revealed to Muhammad that Jesus was the Jewish Messiah.
So do you believe a man named Jesus existed or not? Okay, so you do believe it.
Yes.
Good. Me and you will both agree that he was not God. And me and you will agree that he was not the Son of God. But we do believe he did exist. As a man named Jesus. I agree with you. Now, so that's not a point of contention. Who was Jesus? Was he born to a Virgin Mary? Who was he sent to? All of these things we will evaluate from the Quran, because me and you weren't there, right? We will go back to the words of the Creator, right? And the authentic Sahih Hadith, and we will build our belief on that. So leave all that. We will, me and you, after you do your Shahada today, inshallah, you're there, bro, you're there. Don't hide it, right? Now, you will sit with me, or I have lessons online, you can watch them on your own speed, or you can come, and we will go to the Quran, the words of Allah, we will go to the authentic narration, and we'll figure out who is Moses, and who is Abraham, and who is Jesus, and what he did, and who was he sent to. We'll figure all of that. It won't be my opinion or yours. It will be what's in the evidence. Okay?
There's a stumbling block there for me, though.
Let me take it away for you. Go ahead.
So, the idea that would say to me that I'm not there yet, but the idea that would say to me that Muhammad is prophet would lead me to saying that the entire Quran was God's. It's all words.
Yes.
But in that I'm not there to say that Muhammad was a prophet. I'm not there to say that the entire Quran was God's word.
Sure. So let's get you there.
Like to me, I can accept that Muhammad is a messenger from
Okay,
God,
good.
and the Quran would be filled with God's message.
Excellent.
But it doesn't mean to me that
Sure. So let's walk through that, right?
So when it says about Jesus, there's a piece of me that's not committed to accept.
So let's accept what we do agree. You said that you do believe there's one God, right? You believe Muhammad is the messenger. He received the message, right? Well, that message was the Quran, right? If you believe he received the message, then nothing. That is the original message, right?
I don't know how to accept that.
So if he's
That
a
100%
messenger,
of the stuff that he
okay,
said.
we're not 100% yet. We're just getting into basic concepts.
Okay.
He is a messenger.
That he received a message that was full of God's message.
Excellent.
And that has been passed down inside the Quran.
Good, we're there.
But I'm not at 100%.
So let's get to it. So that message you do believe was from Allah, from the Creator, right?
Because what came forth from it.
Agreed. Now that message was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, right? He is the messenger that received it.
He's the one. Yes, I believe.
Good. So the people around him, they memorized word by word, letter by letter that message. Okay? So now, I don't know you, brother. What's your name? Imad. You're Muslim? Yes. I was assuming that background. You know Surah Al-Fatiha? Yes. Read to me. Now we're gonna test right here, right?
Oh, really?
This is the. Anybody have Arabic?
I'll read it.
Also, give me. Okay, خلاص. So this is the first chapter in the Quran. Okay. Now I don't know him. Are you from San Diego?
No, I'm from Oakland.
He's from Oak Town. He's not even from San Diego. Okay. Now, I'm gonna ask him at random to read a surah. Okay? You just listen. Okay? Read Al-Fatiha.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
That's Surah Al-Fatiha. 7 verses right here. Okay? What's your name, brother?
Hassan, he's my brother, so I don't
He's your
know if
brother.
you want to get somebody else.
You're out then, all right? Let's use our brother here. So, he's from San Diego. Okay? He's not from Oakland. Doesn't know him. Okay? Where are you from originally? Pakistan. He's Yemeni. Okay? So, Maz, you know Al-Fatiha.
أنا فتحة.
Recite it for us.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Now I'm going to throw a curveball. All right? Just to convince you so that stumbling block can be put away. I'm going to go to the end. We'll switch it up, okay? And I'm gonna use a white guy, okay? A reverb, right? so that you don't think it's something that we've been like programmed other countries. Okay. Brother Shahid, where are you from? What state? From Arizona, hillbilly country. All right. So, go ahead. You know Surah Nas?
أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس.
Now, he's a white guy, right? Reaver. I'm gonna take it to an Iranian now, right? Milad, hit me with Surah Nas, bro.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس.
Now think about this. That's from the beginning to the end of the Quran. Different people, some of them I don't know personally, never met them before in my life. right? Different ethnic background, Pakistanis, Iranians, Yemenis, Caucasian, American, whatever, right? Arizona guys, Oakland guys, you know, San Diego guys, right? All different in Arabic, in the original language, memorized, and these are not scholars. Some of them may be students of knowledge, none of them are scholars, right? Since the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, till our time, we have literally millions. If you put them together, millions with an M, right? In the time of the Prophet, I can name you at least 38 by name. Their history, when is it recorded, they memorized. Some of the scholars have put that over 1,000 had memorized letter by letter, word by word. The next generation only increased. Right now, we probably have hundreds of thousands, if not a million, that are alive today. In San Diego, we have plenty that have memorized the whole thing. So how can any of it not be? It's been memorized word by word, letter by letter.
How can it not be what?
From God. This is the message as He said it, recorded. We have, now on top of that, we have manuscript. When you go home, look up.
I find that to be a reflection of how serious the
Exactly.
devotion the person takes.
So
how
now
real it is.
how real it is. So now
But
Quran.
I don't find it as evidence
Excellent.
that it absolutely is.
So you believe that Muhammad was a
100%.
messenger, right?
Yes.
So when the message was revealed to a messenger, he's not going to lie about it. He's a messenger.
He's going to give it to the best ability that he
Excellent.
can. In the context of the challenges that he was born into, with the polytheism, with the,
Right.
with the
Excellent.
Jews, and with the Christians.
True. But in
The
Mecca,
forces at work that
excellent. Mecca, for example, didn't have a big Jewish or Christian population. Mostly polytheists. Very few. Medina had the bigger population. So where he was raised, mostly around polytheists. Right? He couldn't read or write, so it's not like he was taking in scriptures and things like this, right?
Right, yeah.
When he revealed the message, none of it is from his idea. When the message would come, it would not be him speaking. It would be the message come and him just delivering. And people would memorize it letter by letter, word by word. Right? His own words are not in there. Right? How do we know that? How can I guarantee that?
I don't know how. When I go, I didn't realize it until later in my life, but I went back to college later in my life, and I was a pretty good student. I knew how to do well when I had a chance to study.
I can tell.
But I don't know. It's way beyond me to hear someone recite and memorize it.
Great question.
That's really hard.
But this is the beauty
Very challenging.
of why the Prophet Muhammad was chosen to be where he was chosen, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? Because the Arab, their tradition was oral. So one thing interesting, I studied a book called Alfiya ibn Malik. Alfiya ibn Malik is a book of Arabic grammar and sarf and understanding, right? In it, there is an explanation called Ibn Aqil. Ibn Aqil explains. He explains from the poetry of the time before Islam. The Arab, they thought it a weakness to write.
Really?
So what they would do is everything you said they would memorize. Wow. So you would have 10,000, 30,000 line poems that he would memorize, and 50 years later he could read. Right? So now you have a people that are well equipped, and that's what Allah, the Creator, knew when to send what prophet. So it's very easy for that time period for people to hear and memorize. Right? Now you have all these companions that listened and memorized. Now, if, like you said, some of them, human beings, made a mistake, then the others would disagree, right? If you were in a class at school and you were memorizing the professor, right? And none of us today are able to memorize like that, unfortunately, right? But if you memorize everything the professor said, and so do the other students, and you come out and you made a mistake, the other students would be like, nope, that wasn't it, right?
It depends. If you're like you're really, really, really good, just the fact that you have a record of being good,
Right?
people
But what
will
if-
doubt themselves.
What if
sometimes
all of
before
them
they
were
doubt
memorizing?
themselves.
What if they were all good at it?
Yeah. Okay.
Then they would have at
I'm
least
with you.
disagreement,
I'm with you. Yeah,
right? All of the companions came to what we call ijma, consensus. Ijma. I-J-M-A with a little A, right? Consensus that this is exactly what the Prophet was revealing. They all sat down. They said, okay, what did you memorize? What did you memorize? You memorized the whole thing. 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 You wrote. Bring your writings. Bring
This
your
is
memories.
documented.
This is documented. Preservation of the Quran. I'm going to make a video on it soon, inshallah. Go ahead.
But they were oral law. They didn't believe in writing down. How was
True.
documented?
So there were those that it's not that they didn't believe in writing down, but they thought it to be a weakness to write down. They thought it to be better to record. So most of them memorized, but there were those that also wrote down. Some of them, they weren't great memorizers, right? Not all of them were amazing memorizers. Many of them were. The ones that wanted to memorize, they memorized. The ones that wanted to write, they wrote, right? But you have both collections put together, and to a consensus, all of them 100% agreeing this is exactly the message. And then that being written and memorized from that time till our time. Come on, bro. You know you're there. I'll tell you what, let's do this.
You know, I'm at a point. I feel like personally, I'm to a point where I'm probably there. Like, as far as my own conscience is concerned, but I also feel that like there's things in me that could be an offense.
Look, don't worry about it. Listen to Listen to me. Nothing you have said and nothing that you will say will offend us. Okay? Every one of us is struggling. We have our own struggles. Every one of us is sinful. We have our own sins we struggle. We have our own demons we're battling, right? If you're waiting till you're 100% like an angel, it's never going to happen.
I don't know how to agree with the Quran saying that Jesus was the Jewish people's Messiah.
We don't say he was only for the Jewish people, right? We say he was for a time and let's do this. Do you agree that the Quran and Allah being our creator, do you believe in that part? You do believe there's one God, right? We already agreed.
Yes, one God.
Okay.
Yes, our creator.
Excellent.
Yes, I believe that his message is in the Quran.
Okay. So
Do I?
do
I
this.
think I'm at that point where I can't 100%.
No problem. Let's do it. Let me tell you what the Shahada is. Ashhadu an la ilaha.
I've said it in my own heart before. I read it on the internet because I told you, like in my own heart, I felt like I'm already there. I read it and I've said it in my own
So
heart.
do this.
I believe it was
Let's
before
do this.
my creation.
The
But
Shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Right? I bear witness there is none worthy worship except the one creator, right? And I bear witness that Muhammad is a messenger. If you believe in that, right? Believe in that. You believe in the true message that was sent, right? That he was given a message, right? From Allah. Then what we'll do is you come and we will sit and we'll go to studying the Quran. We will study the Hadith. And
I would like that. Yeah,
any questions
I would
you
like
have, anything, we will turn back to the Quran, the authentic narrations, and we will get the answers from there, and then you will grow. Ask your question, offend us, don't worry about it. And as you grow, you will clear up those thoughts. We good with that?
that's yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah.
Let's do it. You ready?
So that means because
Ready? You've already said it. You ready? All right. So, Ashhadu an la ilaha
Allah
ilaha illallah.
illallah.
Wa ashhadu
Wa ashhadu
anna
anna
Muhammadan
Muhammadan
abduhu
abduhu
wa rasuluh. Wa rasul.
wa rasuluh. Yes.
I bear witness
I bear witness
there is none worthy of worship except Allah.
there is none worthy of worship except Allah.
And I bear witness
And I bear witness
that Muhammad
that Muhammad
is the servant
is the servant
and messenger of Allah.
and messenger of Allah.
Muslim.
Takbir.
Now begins